Peter Parker is the loneliest person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. Let's go to No Way Home, December 2021. This moment shows Peter standing in the snow outside a diner, watching MJ and Ned through the glass. They don't know him. Nobody does. Doctor Strange's spell worked perfectly. 8 billion people forgot Peter Parker existed, and Peter let it happen. Well, Brand New Day picks up 4 years later. Peter is an adult, living completely alone, and that is the most emotionally brutal premise the MCU has ever built. Peter Parker's secret is surrounded right now by people who are dangerously close to cracking it open. Some of them are his oldest friends. Even I think I might know who Spider-Man is now. And some of them as well are monsters. Some of them have abilities that make Strange's spell look like a sticky note. And one of them is Ned. He is the most heartbreaking case on this entire list, though. Now, if you haven't seen it, the footage shown at CinemaCon reveals that Ned has Spider-Man research covering his entire wall. He even built an app, guys, like he was trying to follow Jeremy Renner. And he called it Spidey Tracker. It lets regular people report Spider-Man sightings across New York. He is hunting him obsessively without knowing why. But really, sit with that for a second. Ned Leeds does not remember Peter Parker. The spell erased everything. Every memory, every laugh, every moment in the Death Star Lego set room, every second of being the guy in the chair. But something in Ned will not let Spider-Man go. He cannot explain the pull, he just feels it. Like a word on the tip of his tongue that never comes. Spider-Man means something to him, and he's got no idea why. The trailer also shows Peter sneaking into a party happening in Ned and MJ's apartment, and he watches Ned from across the room. Now, some theories suggest that if Ned learns the truth, it could set him on the path to becoming Hobgoblin. That Peter's choice to erase himself may have quietly destroyed his best friend's life, and the discovery of that betrayal, it could be the thing that breaks Ned completely. And in the comics, Ned Leeds does become Hobgoblin, but not through ambition, but through manipulation, through grief that had nowhere to go, through a hole in his life that people with bad intentions filled for him. And so, what is the hole in Ned's life right now? Why is he obsessively tracking a masked stranger across New York City? What is missing in him that he cannot name? If Ned discovers that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, that his best friend erased 4 years of his own life from Ned's memory without asking, the question is not whether Ned will be hurt. Of course he'd be hurt. The question is, what does he do with that? And Brand New Day may be the film that answers that question in the worst possible way. Then continuing, MJ, she's not a side character in this story. She's the emotional core of it, and she's the most dangerous person on this list for a reason that has nothing to do with powers. She's just too smart. So again, the trailer confirms that MJ has no memory of Peter. She's moved on. She's at MIT. She has a social life, and she had a bit of a glow up, and she appears to be seeing someone new. She is, by every visible measure, happy. And Peter watches her from a distance like a ghost watches the living. But here is the thing about MJ that the movie cannot ignore, guys. She figured out Peter was Spider-Man in Far From Home without anyone telling her. She noticed the pattern, the disappearances, the excuses, but also the way Peter looked at danger like it was familiar. She pieced together the most guarded secret in New York from behavioral data alone. The spell wiped her memory. It didn't wipe her brain. The trailer shows Peter following Ned and MJ around the city, rehearsing a speech, showing up at their party, watching from corners, and he is getting closer and closer. And MJ, even without the memory, is going to start noticing a stranger who keeps appearing in the edges of her life. Maybe like a stalker, I don't know. But this person is looking at her like he's trying not to cry, whose eyes carry something ancient and unbearable. When or if MJ figures out, and if this film has any respect for who she is as a character, she might figure it out herself. And it will not be a warm reunion, it'll be a confrontation. Because the spell did not just erase memory, it erased consent. She never got to choose. Peter chose for her. With love, yes. With the best intentions, yes. But he chose for her. That conversation, when it finally happens, is the emotional climax this entire film has been building toward since the end of No Way Home. Then, my friends, you and I, we gotta talk about Bruce Banner and the Savage Hulk. This one is 2 stories in one. Pay attention. So the trailer shows Bruce Banner wearing an inhibitor device. He also wore it in She-Hulk, but I don't blame you if you didn't watch it. And Banner, Smart Hulk, the merged persona from Endgame, has no memory of Peter Parker. The magical wipe worked on, but the Savage Hulk is a different entity. You see, going back to the comics, specifically in Immortal Hulk Great Power, the Hulk looks Peter Parker in the eyes and says, "Bruce Banner forgot, but I don't forget." The Hulk's memory is immune to reality warping spells. He possesses something called astral perception. It's the ability to see through illusions and magical veils, born from Bruce Banner's childhood trauma and a psychological defense mechanism that runs deeper than any sorcery. And that inhibitor on Banner's wrist is a ticking clock. Marketing materials and official merchandise have seemingly confirmed the return of the Savage Hulk in Brand New Day. That device failed. It has to fail. We want our Green Hulk. That is what the device is there for narratively, to fail at the worst possible moment. And when it does, when the Savage Hulk comes roaring back for the first time since before Endgame, he is going to look at this kid he has apparently been running tests with, and he's going to know. He's going to say the name, Peter Parker, out loud in front of whoever is in that room. And the audience might clap, who knows. But this is a plot detonation, because if the Savage Hulk can bypass Strange's spell, it means the amnesia has a structural weakness. It means the magic is not airtight. It means everyone else on this list has a better chance than we thought. The Hulk remembering Peter Parker is the crack in the dam, you see, and everything after that is the flood. Then when it comes to finding things out, you've got Frank Castle, who finds out everything about everyone he works with. The trailer, it shows Spider-Man and the Punisher operating in the same place, possibly against damage control, but they are not allies. The Punisher crosses lines that Spider-Man refuses to cross, and Spider-Man already calls him Frank, which means that there's some level of familiarity already built up between them. But guys, think about what Frank Castle does for a living. He investigates, he builds files, he knows the criminal geography of New York better than any detective or hero alive. He watches people, he studies patterns, he is a trained military operative who turned grief into a surveillance system. And he kills people! Now, Peter Parker is a broke, anonymous 20-something with no history, no legal identity, no digital footprint, with 0 followers, who swings through Frank's territory every night and fights like someone who's been doing this since he was 15. Frank is going to notice the body mechanics, the reflexes, the moral code that is somehow both absolutely rigid and completely selfless. Frank has seen soldiers. He has seen vigilantes. Peter Parker moves like neither. Peter Parker moves like someone who learned all of this alone. Theories suggest that Sadie Sink's character is directly tied to the Punisher, and if she has any ability to read people or see through deception, Frank may not need to even investigate. He may find out through her. And what Frank Castle does with the knowledge that Spider-Man is a 19-year-old kid with no one in the world, that is a character study the MCU has been waiting to tell since Daredevil Season 1. Frank doesn't expose people, he uses information as protection or as leverage. If he finds out Peter is alone, he might not say a word. He might just quietly make sure no one else finds out first. And that is the most dangerous kind of person to know your secret. Then it was confirmed that Sadie Sink is portraying Jean Grey in Brand New Day. Y'all, the most powerful telepath on the planet, a woman whose mind at full strength can reach every consciousness on Earth simultaneously. The trailer shows a character who appears to control minds. Now think about what Doctor Strange's spell actually is. It is a psychic restructuring of 8 billion human minds. It rewrote memory on a global scale. It is the single most ambitious piece of magic the MCU has ever depicted, and it worked on everyone. But Jean Grey would see through it the way you see through tissue paper. She would not even need to try. She would look at Peter Parker and the entire story would be there. The spider bite, the suit, the spell, the sacrifice, all of it glowing in his head like a neon sign. Also the big purple alien. She would know before he opened his mouth. But if Sadie Sink's Jean Grey is a mutant being pursued by damage control, then she and Peter are in the same situation, both hiding what they are, both being hunted by institutions that want to categorize and contain them. That shared vulnerability is the foundation of every great Spider-Man partnership. Peter connects with people who understand what it costs to be what you are. And Jean Grey, a mutant in a world that fears her, understands that cost better than almost anyone. She finds out, and the question is whether she tells him that she knows, or whether she keeps it, protects it, and becomes his most unexpected ally. Then, Sacha Baron Cohen, or Borat, is set to appear as Mephisto in Brand New Day, reprising his role from the Ironheart finale. Now, if you know your Marvel Comics history, you know exactly why that name, Mephisto, makes Peter Parker's story so much more complicated. Or maybe you were just around during the WandaVision airing days. Or maybe you watched Ironheart. I know I didn't, but the script's in front of me, so I'm gonna read it. But in the comics, the original Brand New Day exists because of Mephisto. He is the one who erased Peter's life. He brokered the deal. He took the marriage, the history, the identity, and he gave Peter Parker a reset. Now, the MCU is not telling that exact story, but they named this film Brand New Day deliberately. Marvel does not name films accidentally. Now, Mephisto is a deal maker, a cosmic predator who feeds on desperation and grief, and Peter Parker right now is the most desperate, most grief-saturated person in the MCU. He gave up his entire identity voluntarily. He lives alone. He is mutating in ways he cannot understand. His body is changing. His powers are evolving, and he's got nobody to call. Now, Mephisto does not need to expose Peter's secret. That's not how he works. He sits across from you at the worst moment of your life, and he asks you what you would give to have it back. I'm talking about your name, your friends, one conversation with Ned where he remembers, one moment where MJ looks at you like she knows you. The price is always something you do not realize you are paying until it is gone. Peter Parker saying yes to Mephisto is the most dangerous version of this film's ending, because it would feel like the most human thing he has ever done. Then we've got the mutation. This one is not a person, but it might be the reveal that makes all the others inevitable. So now, the script confirms that Peter gets a small, sharp headache almost immediately in the film, written as an early sign that his isolated lifestyle is damaging his mental health. That's really accurate. But something is changing inside of him, and maybe not for the better. The trailer, it confirms organic web shooters, black eyes, Peter waking up inside a web cocoon. Commentators have connected this to the 6 Arms saga, and to The Other. It's like a storyline that reveals Spider-Man as a mystical spider totem, a being with multiversal significance. And let me get into it. Here is what a spider totem means in the wider mythology. It means Peter Parker is marked by some something ancient and cosmic that decided he was important before he was even born. And things that are cosmically marked, they do not stay hidden. Sorcerers, they sense them. Demons are drawn to them, and telepaths cannot look away from them. Spider-Man is shown in the trailer being subjected to extensive tests as they try to understand what is happening to his biology. Every person in that lab learns something about a young man with no name, no history, and no one watching out for him. And they're going to start asking questions that the amnesia spell cannot answer, because the spell erased Peter Parker, but it did not erase what Peter Parker is. The mutation is the story the spell could not delete, and it is writing itself across his skin in real time, in organic webbing, in black eyes and cocoons for anyone paying attention to read. And someone is going to read it. This is the architecture of Brand New Day, a secret trying to survive, a truth that 8 billion people forgot, pressing up against the walls of every relationship Peter Parker is too scared to have. The spell is breaking. It was always going to break. The only question Brand New Day has left to answer is who breaks it first, and what Peter Parker does on the day that someone finally says his name.